Hello, my love. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today and getting on your mat. I'm Natalie Adele. This is my sister Holly and my friend Kristen. And today's class, I'm calling it the Open Heart Warrior. So we're focusing on our heart space. And yes, we'll absolutely be getting into some nice juicy back bends and really strengthening the lower back lumbar spine. So giving yourself a nice strong backbone from which you can open your heart. Hence, Open Heart Warrior. So the aromatherapy that I'm choosing for today's class is actually from our Glow Kit. So our Glow series is all about beauty and love and opening and roses. So the dewdrops are made with rose water, and they're just really beautifully opening. So I'm going to start by spraying some of the dewdrops onto my chest, collarbones, heart space, and all around my face. I'll go ahead and do that for Kristen and Holly. So again, like a flower petal blooming, let the dewdrops land on your chest, collarbones, and let your breath start to deepen. We're also going to start with our Immortelle Elixir. This is so beautiful, the fountain of youth in a bottle. So a little goes a long way. This is really good. We typically use it on the face in our evening skin rituals, but it's great for some aromatherapy. So I'm going to place a few drops in their palm. And the hands and the heart are very much energetically connected. So go ahead by just rubbing the palms together to begin without doing anything else. Notice where or if you're gathering tension in the face. Generate a little bit of heat there. Little bit more heat. And then before we even take a deep breath, just place your hands right over your chest. Take a deep breath in, feel the palms receive the breath. And inhale, palms receive the breath. One more big full breath in. Hold it at the top, crescendo. Sip in more. Exhale, release. And go ahead and feel free to bring the palms in front of the face now to really enjoy the scent of that Immortelle Elixir. Sometimes I love to just press it into the face, the neck. Moving down the neck, maybe tap the collarbones. Whatever you need to do here to open up your senses and really invite the breath into your practice. Inviting you to close your eyes, and we'll just meet in an easy seat. I'm sitting up on a blanket just to lift my hips a little bit, support my spine. And the palms are going to be face down or face up on the thighs. So I really like to have them face down if I'm feeling a little jittery or anxious. And then I like to have them face up if I'm feeling a little tired and sluggish. If you can't quite decide, do one up, one down. Go ahead and roll the shoulders up, down, and back, chin away from chest. Stacking your shoulders above the hips, chin slightly lifted. Gaze is inward now, third eye space. And breathe. In through the nose. And out through the nose. In through the nose. And out through the nose. Today's reading. Talking fast. Live loud enough in your heart, and there's no need to speak. There was a time in my life during my years in college when I was so talkative that the waterfall of words kept others at a safe distance. Of course, in time, this cascade pushed others away. But what I didn't realize until much later was that I kept talking faster and louder to the world around me because I couldn't hear the world within me. Of course, the more noise I made, the less chance I had of having what was real enter me and rise from me. And it became a cycle. So often we mistake the need to hear with the need to be heard. All that talk was a way of reaching out to others with my heart. Ultimately, it was all based on the fear that if I didn't throw my heart out there, through endless words and gestures and questions, that I would be left alone. It's taken me many years to learn that the world comes flooding in if I can only keep myself open. It remains important to reach out and to express oneself, but underneath that is the need to be porous and real. And through the opened heart, the world comes rushing in the way oceans fill the smallest hole along the shore. It is the quietest sort of miracle. By simply being who we are, the world will come to fill us, to cleanse us, to baptize us again and again. So in these beginning moments of your practice, center yourself by breathing steadily. Bring into view in your mind one thing that you are reaching for. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, reach without moving and let it open up your body. Bring into view in your mind one thing that you are needing to express. And as you inhale, feel without speaking and let it open your heart. Let's place left hand on chest, right hand on top, opening the eyes. Inhale. And let it go. Really nice. Extend the right arm out at about a 45 degree, and with the pads of your fingers, just start tapping your heart space. Really, just tapping the heart space is a beautiful heart-opening practice. It's also a great way to release blocks, barriers, veils that we have hiding ourselves from the world. It's a great way to tap into speaking without speaking. Go ahead and maybe move in circles, staying on the left side of the heart. And then we'll move to the other side. Left arm out, right hand taps. So if you're not familiar by now, the left side of our body is our feminine side, right? Our moon side. It's the side that we receive from. The right side of our body is our masculine side, our sun side. It's the side we give from, and both are valid and very important. So we're going to extend both arms out now, and we're going to tap a little bit faster on the exhale. So it's going to look and sound like this. Just maintaining, who feels like a gorilla at home? I do. Tapping into that primal energy. So the left side of my chest is getting a little sore, so I'm going to start to migrate to the center, maybe over to the right as well. The energy of our heart does spill over to the right side of our chest. Move the arms up a little higher now, drawing the energy up from the heavens, letting grace downpour on us, and then shifting the arms down and bringing the fire, the effort of the earth into our body, down into the depths of our body. One more breath. And release. All right, warriors, we're gonna come into a child's pose, and we're gonna take our blanket. If you don't have a blanket at home, a pillow works just fine. And we're gonna fold it up. So it's pretty small and meaty, and we're going to place it right on the top of my thighs, snuggled up into my belly. So we carry a lot of tension in our belly, a lot of vulnerability in our belly. So when we have something really supportive and nurturing there, it literally allows us to exhale out all that tension. The feet are close together. And then you're just gonna fold down into your child's pose. Option to take a block if the head doesn't quite reach the ground, and you can rest your forehead on your block. And then, of course, you can do whatever you'd like with your arms. You can reach them forward, bring them back for embryo pose. We're just going to be here for a few breaths. And I think it's really important, especially if we're working on the heart, to start with some nurturing. let's hear your breath. Remember that wherever we allow the breath to go, we then allow the mind and the body to access those spaces. So think of a day in the spring when you're spring cleaning. What do? You open the windows. You let the cross breeze run through your space to clear out the energy. That's exactly what you're doing in the body with deep cleansing breaths. You're opening up the windows. You're letting the light in and you're letting the light out. Take 3 more breaths here. I would love for you to let that last sigh out through an open mouth, express some noise here. That is really connected to the heart, yeah. And as you inhale, come to tabletop, remove the block, remove the blanket, gently bring your blocks to the side. And maybe you take a few rounds of cat-cow here, or roll out the neck, maybe roll out the wrists or the shoulders. And while you're doing that, I'll demonstrate what the next flow is going to be. So again, with any heart opening, we also are involving the lower spine with back bending. So for the next flow, we're going to move from child's pose to cobra. And the analogy I like to do here, because you're going to be staying like a snake very close to the ground, the analogy I like to bring, or the visual here is, remember the movie Mission Impossible? Where they had the lasers and they had to like crawl really low on the ground. I want you to bring that into mind. So I'll just demonstrate what we're going to do. You're going to start in child's pose. As you inhale, you look forward and you slink forward, Mission Impossible, like a snake, cobra. Inhale. Exhale brings you back into child's pose. Finish the breath out, finish the pose. Inhale, full breath, not a half a breath, not 3 breaths, 1 breath. Exhale. You guys got it. So keep on flowing through that. You may notice your arms might start to get tired, and if that's you, rest in child's pose for a little bit. You may like to hold cobra for a few breaths and explore looking over opposite shoulder. Maybe you go a little bit faster if you have a lot of energy in the body today. The most important thing, you're moving and you're breathing. You're finding softness in the jaw and in the face. And I really want you to power up those breaths, right? In our yoga practice, whether we're holding a pose or flowing, what our aim is to really allow the body, the asana, to wrap around the breath. We don't find the pose and then the breath sneaks in. We find the breath, and then the pose wraps around. Go ahead and do 2 more full rounds. When you're done, you'll shift the hips forward and down, and we'll meet on our bellies, and we'll set up for Cobra Pose. So my hands are right underneath my shoulders. The tips of my fingers come to about the tops of my shoulders here. So notice they're not further back or forward. And think about a snake. They have 1 leg, not 2. So zip up your cobra legs, the heels touch. The kneecaps are locked and lifted here. It's so subtle, but makes a world of a difference. You're gonna press your hip point, think of like a belt buckle, press the pubic bone into the mat. Gather the belly up and in. So notice the difference in my upper body just by engaging my lower body, right? Without even inducing any effort. So engage the lower body, elbows by your ribs like little grasshopper wings, gaze down. Inhale, just a little mini cobra. Keep the gaze down here. Exhale, come down. Forehead taps. Inhale, heels click like Dorothy. Exhale. Inhale, maybe you start to extend up a little higher, gaze forward. Exhale. 2 more. Good, give yourself a little rest. Bring the arms down by your side, bend the legs, turn one cheek, and very slowly windshield wiper. So sometimes in class we'll see students do this, right? Really aggressively, like monsoon windshield wipers. Just a little rain shower. Little rain shower. Really be gentle and kind and loving to your lower back. Maybe you roll out the ankles here as well. So go ahead and bring the legs back to the ground, cobra legs once again. Assume the position of cobra. Really spread all 10 fingers. Think chaturanga elbows. Hips press down, knees lock up. Inhale, find your cobra pose and stay. So you're so engaged with the mat, it's almost like you could pull yourself forward, right? It's like you're mad at that mat. Your gaze is forward. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you lift the palms off the ground a few millimeters. Right? Is this you here? Are your shoulders all the way up by the ears? Can you press the heart through? Maybe you stay here, or you extend the arms back. And then maybe you explore, looking to the right, looking to the left. Don't hold your breath. I always say there's so many things in life to take your breath away. Don't let your yoga practice be one of them. One more breath. And release. And rest, or maybe windshield wiper. And find your breath and a soft belly. Nice little bonus stretch here. Extend the legs on the ground, curl the toes under, and just give the soles of your feet a nice little stretch. Lock and lift the knees. Awesome. So uncurl the toes. We're going to come into what's called Gecko Pose. So you're going to extend the arms out to the right and left side of you onto tented fingers. So a nice analogy here with tented fingers is imagine there's your favorite cupcake underneath your palms. You don't want to smash it, right? So cupcake underneath the palms. Notice my elbows are facing the sky, right? My gaze is down. So same concept as cobra with the legs. Heels click, knees lock and lift. That's everything, right? Gaze is down. I really want you to undulate the spine like a wave. As you inhale, you open up into this beautiful gecko. And as you exhale, you undulate down. Inhale, the head comes up last. Exhale. So your arms, your hands aren't the only thing doing this pose for you, right? The legs are super engaged. The belly, super engaged. Glutes, super engaged. And from the whole strength in the back body, right, open heart warrior, we can find freedom opening in the front body. Beautiful. Go ahead and do one more round. And release. Let the arms just open wide and just rest. Maybe circle out the jaw, stick out the tongue. Let out some sighs through your mouth. All right, let's come back to that gecko in the upper body, cobra in the lower body. This time you're gonna inhale, find your gecko and hold it. Take a deep breath in again, and take a little twist here. Tap the inner left shoulder to the mat, look up to the sky over the right. Inhale brings you back, really nice twist in the shoulder joint. Exhale. Let's just keep on flowing through that on our own. Sometimes it just feels really nice to hold the twist, and I'll just hold that and renegade it of my own and just do what I want for a few breaths. Or maybe you're flowing through. I really want you to try to engage the collarbone into the mat. That's a big part of our heart space. We'll do one more on each side. When you're done, you're going to release the arms out in front of you and just kind of flick the fingertips off. There's a lot of energy there waiting to be released. Maybe you roll out the wrists a little bit. Between that and cobra, we spent a lot of time on our hands. And then you're going to extend the legs and arms out in front of you and bring the forehead to the mat. And find a deep breath in the side body. Can you walk the fingertips even further out in front of you? Yeah. So go ahead and lift the head and overlap forearms on top of each other, and then rest the forehead here. Engage the legs. My feet are now hip width apart. And as you inhale, just lift the right leg off the mat. Keep the right hip on the mat. Don't lift the right hip. And as you exhale, tap the foot down. Inhale, lift. It's such a small movement. Exhale, tap. Notice how I'm pointing my right foot. My yogi toes are engaged. And what you're doing here is really activating this part of the body, the lower spine. We can't do heart opening and back bends without addressing this part of the body. Well, we can, but in order to keep it balanced, we want to address that. On your next one, go ahead and inhale, keep it lifted. And then the whole unit of the leg is just gonna take a little circle, right? So you're not rolling out the ankle, really good. Notice if you're gathering tension here in the upper body, right? Notice where your tension is. Go ahead and switch directions with your circle. Is it a little jagged circle, or can we find a nice smooth circle? And then go ahead and release. Good. Inhale, the left leg rises, the whole unit of the leg. Exhale, tap it down. Inhale and exhale. Can you find a longer leg? Can you reach the toes further back? Inhale, lift, and exhale, tap. Good. This time, inhale, lift, keep it lifted, and then take little circles here. Yeah. So Holly, notice how Holly turned her neck, so that's totally an option. You can turn your head, or you can do as Kristen's doing and keep your forehead on the ground. Can you lift that leg a little bit higher in those circles? Can you charge up the lower back? Switch directions with your circles. Breathe. Let it be easy in the upper body. And release. Release. Take your own little resting pose here. Maybe you curl the toes under, maybe you open the arms, maybe you windshield wiper the legs side to side. The choice is yours. I'm gonna give them a little spritz here after all that hard work. And when you're ready, ladies and my friend, let's meet in tabletop. So we'll come onto all fours. Again, maybe you take some cat-cow, maybe you chase the tail, or you do some hip circles. So for cat-cow, traditionally in yoga classes, we inhale cow and we exhale cat, right? If that's what you do and you just autopilot your way through it, can you find a neutral spine, inhale cat, exhale, lion's breath, cow. Inhale. Exhale. Yeah, so take a few versions of your own. Another option here, sometimes I like to switch it up and come into cat-cow on my forearms. It changes everything. Really good. Awesome job, guys. Let's meet back in tabletop. Yeah. So we're going to bring the knees close together and cross the left knee in front of the right knee. Open the feet wide, and then go ahead and interlace the fingertips. Yeah, you got it. So in Katona Yoga, when we do this, we find our third eye, our third hand, and our third foot. So you're just gonna take some cat-cow, just like that. What this does here is it really churns up and releases the energy in our lumbar spine. So again, when we're working on heart opening, we're working inevitably on our lumbar spine, the strength, the stretch, and the stagnation. Did you know that the lumbar spine in the vertebrae is the most surgically operated part of the spine? It carries the weight of the world, and it carries a lot of heavy emotions. So release that now. Option to stay in your slow cat-cow or turn it up. Fire breath. When we do this, we're working on the first floor of the body, the second floor of the body, and the third floor of the body. If you're taking a slower cat-cow, maybe you choose to undulate the hips a little bit. So maybe you're doing a fast cat-cow fire breath, or you're circling out the hips. Wherever you are, I hope that you're finding freedom and not constriction. One more full cycle of breath. And we'll release the hands, and we'll release the legs. And let's release the wrists here. You can come to kneeling and just roll out the wrists gently. Circles. Sometimes you see this, like aggressive shaking of the wrists. Tiny joint, be really gentle, rolling out. You can bring the back of the hands to touch and draw the elbows down to stretch the front of the wrist. We can stretch the carpal tunnel by opening the palm, including the thumb. Really nice. If you know any other wrist stretch, please take it. Here's a fun one. Bring the hands into the body like a monkey and press down. Awesome. Let's meet back in tabletop when you're ready. So we're going to extend the right leg out behind us and just take a moment here to roll at the ankle. Yes, I love those snap, crackles, and pop sounds. Keep the foot flexed and then just drop it to the ground here and then just shift the weight forward, back, and side to side. There's really no wrong or right way to do this. All you're doing is exploring the sensation in the back of the leg. Sometimes I like to turn the top of the foot to the mat and stretch my foot. Really nice. And then stay here with the leg on the ground. Bring the left hand to the center of the mat. We're going to come into our modified side plank, pinky edge of the right foot, and then pivot on that left leg and reach the arms up high. So you can either go for alignment, right, stacking the arms, or we can open the chest a little bit more, looking up and over to the right, spinning open the collarbones. Really make sure energetically you're lifted out of that bottom shoulder. Yes, Kristen's using a block to take her a little bit more out of that shoulder joint. Good. So option to stay here or let that back leg float off the ground. An option to stay there or go for a sort of dancer's pose by grabbing the ankle, the outer part of the ankle. And once you have that, if you have that, kick. And there you find the heart opening. And maybe you find a little wobbling and shaking in the pose, and that's okay. That's where the change happens, but don't sacrifice your breath. One more breath. Your exhale is going to rewind you out of the pose without slamming the foot down, and release the right hand down. Both knees come down. We'll meet back in tabletop. Go ahead and stretch out the wrists. Go ahead and take some cat-cow, or maybe a child's pose. Yes. So I always say, when I teach to a room full of people, one of my favorite things as a teacher is when I look around the room and everybody's doing something different. That for me shows that I'm really holding the container to let you come as you are, right? So at home, do whatever you want to be doing here. What does your body need? Find your breath. Really nice. Let's meet back in tabletop. And when you're ready, your left leg's going to extend behind you, and you're just going to kind of shake it off and roll it out and get out those snaps and crackles and pops in the ankle joints. And then when you're ready, flex foot, drop it, and then find some movement here, side to side, backwards and forwards. Maybe stretch the toes. Notice if already, before we even go into our modified side plank, are you dumping into your shoulder joint, right? Already, can we lift and broaden the back of the body? And then bring the right hand to the center of the mat, pivot to the pinky edge, side of the toe, and slowly the left arm reaches up to the sky. So take a look at my right shoulder here again. Here's what it's like to energetically dump, right? Lift out of the shoulder. What's one way to do that? Look up. Where you look, you go, right? So look up, again, option to stay here or maybe extend that back leg. And then maybe go for your outer left foot or ankle or shin. If and when you get that grip, kick. Kicking is the object of this stretch, right? Open the heart and find your deep warrior breath, Ujjayi breath. One more. And on your exhale, slowly, gracefully, with ease, come out of the pose, the opposite way you came in, and find your own release here. For me, I'm going to take a child's pose. I trust that you know what you need. When you're ready, my friend, go ahead and meet in downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal out the legs and the knees. And shake your head yes, and shake your head no, and Play around with lifting the heels off the mat and dropping them. Maybe shimmy the heels side to side. Stick out the tongue. Maybe you come onto tented fingers here for a little bit more of a challenge. Yeah. So let's check in here in our downward facing dog. As you inhale, shift forward to high plank just for a moment. Notice if you have to move anything, right? See how Hall had to move her hands a little bit. So keep them where you had to move them to, and then shift back to downward facing dog. Go ahead and take a bend in the knees, and with the knees bent, lift the hips up and back more. Yes. Roll the armpits under the body. So I want you to keep your knees bent for this down dog for a few breaths. So often we're focused on heels to the ground, heels to the ground, heels to the ground, that we hyperextend our knees and our hamstrings. One more breath. And gently find your child's pose. This time, either find embryo, wrapping the arms around for the heels, or cactus arms in your child's pose. Maybe the forehead is on the ground, or you gently turn a cheek, the side of the face. If you're in embryo pose and you're reaching and you're gripping, wherever you are, you're where you need to be, release the grip and let the shoulders drop. Maybe take a gentle rock side to side. Let's bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Inhale brings you right into your cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, find your cow pose and hold your cow pose. Hold the pose, hold the body, not the breath. Draw the shoulders down and back. Press the collarbones through. And on your next exhale, find your cat pose. Hold your cat. Arch the back of the body and just kind of shimmy the hips a little side to side here. Inhale brings you to neutral spine, curl the toes. Exhale, find your downward facing dog. And again, explore your dog for a few breaths. For those of you, we've done a lot of work on our hands. If you're having wrist issues or, discomfort, maybe try dolphin pose, right? You can always come onto your forearms for down dog. It definitely serves as an added challenge, but might give your wrists a little bit of a break. We're just gonna be here for a few more breaths. So we're gonna do what I call crouching tiger, hidden dog. Come back to your down dog. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, crouch down. It's like child's pose, but not really. Inhale, down dog. Exhale. One more. Inhale, extend the legs and the hips, look forward and tippy toe all the way to your top of your mat. I don't want you to float or jump through. Tippy toe with intention until you're at your edge and you feel like you just may topple over, and then land the heels down. And just take a moment here in your forward fold. Interlace hands behind the nape of the neck, elbows draw in. Really give yourself a cat spine here. Tuck the chin to the chest. And maybe rock a little side to side, freeing up the thoracic spine. Maybe you bend the knees. Keep a soft bend in the knees. Keep your hands behind the neck, chin to chest, and slowly on an inhale, like a flower petal blooming, spring. Spring has sprung. Inhale, opens you up. Open those petals. Press the heart through. Upper body forward. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And exhale, fold. Halfway lift, breath in. And fold, breath out. Rise up, breathe deep. Inhale. And fold, exhale. Halfway left. Fold. So again, they're short movements, but they're full breaths. Rise up, inhale, and fold. Halfway. Fold. Stand tall. Go ahead and meet me here at the top, palms touch. Take a little back bend here. So your palms are touching and you're overlapping thumbs, hips forward, upper body back, just a little back bend, look up, go back, fall back, way back, breathe. Inhale, come back to standing, and hands through heart center, exhale. Awesome, let's go ahead and just shake it off here, shake it off. Can't help but think of the Taylor Swift song when I say that. All right, we're gonna do a standing cat-cow. So my feet are maybe slightly wider than hip width. I'm gonna take a nice deep bend here. Let me just see, how do I want my hands to be? I'm gonna bring my hands to the tops of my thighs, thumbs on the inside, fingers on the outside. And I'm gonna turn to the side so you guys can see this. You're gonna inhale, pull the chest, arch the back, banana back. Exhale, chin to chest, scoop the pelvic forward. Inhale, exhale. So I always like to imagine here the analogy of your pelvis as a big bowl. As you inhale, drop that big bowl of water forward. And as you exhale, spill the big bowl of water down the back of the body. Really move the neck here, maybe stick out the tongue. And notice, maybe this hand position doesn't work for you. Sometimes I flip the grip on the inside. Maybe go a little faster. Or maybe you go slow and you kind of like hold it a little bit. I'm just going to take a few more breaths. Good. And then we'll all meet unfolding, unfurling, inhaling. And exhale back to the heart. 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. In, out, in, and out. Let's bring the feet close together. Inhale, reach the arms up high. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, straight spine, gaze down, belly in. Let's find a low lunge, right leg back. Drop the knee. Go ahead and shift the gaze forward, reach the arms forward. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Low lunge. Exhale, hands to the heart. Beautiful. We're gonna do a little flow here. So find cactus arms. So in our back bend, we always focus so much on the back, 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 back. But what it actually is a front, 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 front. Right? So think of the front of your body being pulled forward in a strong way, right? Strong backbone. And from that strong masculine energy, the heart can surrender. So often we're just like, dump it all back. But find your strong foundation. So cactus arms, tilt back, lift the gaze, press the top of your back foot into the ground, the bottom of your front foot into the ground, and find your edge here. Hips forward, upper body back. Inhale, and then draw the arms together, tuck the chin to the chest, find your humble warrior, humble lunge, exhale. Inhale, reaches the arms up high. And on the exhale, frame the front foot, find your high plank. Inhale, shift the weight forward, find your vinyasa, chaturanga down, or you can find cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Find your breath. Shift the gaze forward, right foot forward, in between the hands, back knee drops. Beautiful. Uncurl the toes, reach the arms a little forward. Already we're finding the back bend, right? Inhale, arms up. Exhale, heart center. So really notice your front knee before we go further. Has it peeled out or in a little bit? Keep it above the heel, ankle. And then find your cactus arms. Draw your shoulder blades. Let the shoulder blades kiss behind you so your collarbones can open in front. Again, the lower body forward and down. Gather in the pelvic floor to contain that energy, right? Masculine container. And from that strong core, strong spine, the heart can open. Take a deep breath in. Draw the forearms together, palms touch, curl back, humble lunge, breath out. Good. Inhale, reaches the arms up high. And let's take one more vinyasa on the exhale. You can option to skip that and we'll meet right in down dog. Find your breath. Let's find our chasing tiger, hidden dog. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, crouch down, thighs and chest meet. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. That last exhale is going to drop the knees to the ground, and I want you to find a child's pose. You can either keep the toes tucked, or if that's too much on the feet, untuck them. And find the softness here. That sweet, sweet release. Yes. Feel free, if maybe you prefer here, to find stillness. Be even more still. I always like to think of a pebble that's just been dropped in a lake, right? Just when you think it's reached the depths, there's so much more to go, right? It's like infinite. Can you let the breath follow the stone into the depths of your body? Can you relax your shoulders? Can you find a softer face? Can you release the tongue from the roof of the mouth? Find space between your top and bottom row of teeth. Good. Your next inhale is going to bring you back to tabletop, and on your own, take a few rounds of cat-cow just to release the spine. Again, maybe you flow through, or you hold cat for a few breaths and cow for a few breaths. When you're ready, we're going to meet kneeling. We're going to set up for a little bit of a back bending series before we take it down onto our mat. Blanket is optional here, so for those of you who like a little padding, I invite you to open up your blanket. Otherwise, you can be right on your mat. And we are going to have 2 blocks handy, one on either side of us for later as a modification for Camel Pose. So before we get into Camel Pose, now by now, our backs are definitely open. Our body's definitely warm, right? So we're going to come into kneeling here. You're going to come onto your knees. Again, this is where padding is optional. The tops of my feet are on the ground. I'm going to look behind me, 2 fist distance in between the knees. Now, a lot of us tend to totally over-exaggerate the size of our hips, right? Men or women, our hips are about 2 fist distance apart. My feet are right behind my knees, right? We'll come onto our knees here. So the first back bend we're going to take, I'll turn around so you can see. We're going to bring our hands to our lower back here. Okay, so my hands are spread really wide. My hands aren't all the way up here or all the way down here. They're right around here, supporting my sacrum and the SI joint. And my elbows are going to shoot behind me. Yeah, already this is a heart opener. This may be enough for you. Otherwise, you're going to inhale, engage the core. And as you exhale, like you're nudging a friend to gently do something, just push forward. So the hips press forward, just like in our standing back bend or in our lunge back bend. That allows the heart to surrender. The neck will not fall off. Let the head drop. And notice how you breathe here. It's hard, right? It can bring up anxiety. Why? Because you're vulnerable. Take one more breath. Slowly come up. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And just take a little mini child's pose on the exhale. Move the hips to the right and to the left. So I'm going to show you guys our next series. It's called Dancing Camel Pose. So you're going to come to kneeling, just like I am here. You're going to inhale, sweep the arms behind you and reach up like a wave. Take a little back bend. And on the exhale, you come back onto your knees, or sorry, onto your heels, right hand down. Inhale, open. Exhale, come back down. Both arms like a wave all the way up. Inhale. Exhale, back to heart center, left hand down. Tented fingers, inhale, reach. And exhale. So always you can have the option of blocks. Inhale, both arms. Exhale. Hand down, fingertips back. Inhale. And exhale. You guys got it. Let's keep on flowing. I want you to again focus on the wave-like essence of the breath. Body will follow along. Last one. And then find a child's pose. Awesome, guys. Let's come back to kneeling. We're going to take our last back bend, and I'm going to go over all the options for you. We're keeping our blocks behind us here on the tallest setting. So, option one, you can do exactly what we just did, where the hands are on the lower back. You gently coerce your hips. So think of like teaching a young child how to ride a bike, right? You just gently press them forward, right? So a gentle nudge, engage the core, heart drops. Option one. Option two, my hands now come down onto blocks, fingertips face the back. Camel pose. Now notice my shoulders, I'm allowing them to roll back. Notice I'm not dumping, right? The energy in the lower body is forward, and from that space, the heart opens. Option two, curl the toes. Bring the hands onto your heels. This lifts the heels slightly. And option three is uncurl the toes and find your full camel pose. So go ahead, ladies, and take your options. For those of you who have an advanced practice, the final option that I'll offer is hands come into prayer, reach all the way overhead, and you can take your full version of camel pose. But I only want you to try this if you're fully warmed up and being honest with your body. Take 3 more deep breaths here with me, yogis. Hips forward, heart lifts, freedom, freedom, open heart, warriors. When we come out of this pose, left hand on lower back, right hand on lower back, lift up. Good. Counter pose for this is Huron pose. So go ahead and sit the hips down in between the heels. Even just that is a good release, okay? For those of you at home who have knee issues, do one leg at a time. Okay, that changes everything. Do one leg at a time. Otherwise, we're going to be here. You guys good in this one? Awesome. Bring your hands onto your heels and just lift the chest. You can stay here. I'm already feeling a release in my lower back. You can stay here, or you can come down onto the right elbow, left elbow. Scooch the hips a little forward. Start to let the head drop back. You can stay here, or you can come all the way down onto the back, shoulders down, arms overhead, chin tucked. Bring your knees close together here. Ideally, your knees are touching, and just like you would in bridge pose, look at my chest here. Right? Just like you would in bridge pose. Again, if this is too much for you at home, just do one leg at a time. I'm really feeling like an opening in this part of my body. It feels really, really good. Really press the pinky edges of your feet into the ground. Press your root into the ground so everything else can bloom. 2 more breaths. So just with any back bending, I want you to be very slow, gentle, and mindful with yourself as you come out of whatever version of the pose you're doing. Literally pressing the rewind button, right? So the elbows come down, grab back onto the heels, right elbow lifts, left elbow lifts. We come up, we find a breath. Okay, A really nice counter pose to this, guys. We're gonna come into rabbit pose. So I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see this a little bit better. Again, you can stay on your blanket, but I'm just gonna remove it for visibility. So rabbit pose, I'm kneeling, my feet are close together, my knees are close together. If you have a top bun, I would recommend just taking your hair out before you get into the pose so it's not in your way. I'm going to roll my shoulders down and back to open the heart, because a lot of times this is us, right? So can't quite get there. Roll the shoulders up and back and grab onto your heels, okay? And like I'm enveloping into myself, you'll watch my spine start to curve, right? Chin to chest. Everything starts to roll in. Already I'm feeling a big opening. And I bring the top of my head, the crown of my head onto the ground. The intention is forehead to knees, right? Forehead to knees. If it doesn't quite get there, walk the knees into the forehead. Using the grip of your hands, hold onto the heels and start to lift your hips. Gather the belly in. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. I know it's hard to breathe. It's certainly hard to talk in this pose. Great for the throat chakra. Open up the lower back, lift the hips, pull, 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 and slowly release. Ooh, I love that one. I always forget about that pose. That's from my Bikram yoga days. So go ahead and start to roll out the shoulders. If you're not comfortable on your knees anymore, certainly we have come to seated. And just start to roll out the neck. Really nice. Good. Really nice. Let's bring the hands onto the knees and we'll just take some really gentle seated cat-cow again, opening the heart. Inhale, pulls the chest through. And exhale, release. So no need to overachieve with this one. You've already done the work. All we're doing here is just softening up the spine, letting the breath flow around the spine, and returning home. Really nice. Good. Come back to seated. Reach the arms down, bring the soles of the feet to the ground, and let's slowly come down onto our backs. Stretch the arms overhead, legs long, flex those feet. And then just kind of lift the lower back and like rock the hips on the ground like I'm doing, right? You're just kind of slamming the hips up and down. You can either do that with the legs long or soles of the feet on the ground. It's just a nice release for the lower back. We did a lot of work in our back today, guys. Guess what emotion the lower back carries? Worry. Worry, worry, worry. So we've released a lot of that today, so good job. Find stillness. We'll all meet with the knees tucked into the chest, arms overhead. Go ahead and roll to the right side of your body for fetal position. So a couple options here. Sometimes I like to take one of my blocks and just rest my head like a pillow, or maybe you actually have a pillow. Sometimes I like to rest the top forearm. Sometimes it's nice to bring a block in between the knees. I want this to be comfortable, easy, and nurturing for you. Sometimes I like to curl that top arm into the body, or sometimes I like to stretch it overhead. Take a deep breath in and let it escape through an open mouth. Exhale. We'll go ahead and find a twist here in our fetal. So left arm, top arm reaches up towards the sky. Inhale. Keep the knees to the right, upper body drops to the left. Exhale. You may have to sort of move around a little bit. I've still got the block in between my knees. Extend that right arm out long. And if the neck allows, look over to the left. Or maybe you stay here. Sometimes I like to hold that top leg down, relax the feet. Find your breath. Softening the space in between your eyebrows. Good. Return the neck back to center. Return the knees back to center. If you have a block in between the legs, you can keep it there. Arms overhead. And find your feet on the other side. So that may require you kind of shifting the hips a little bit. And find what works for you with the bottom arm. Maybe it's extended out or it's tucked in. Maybe the top arm is resting on a block or all the way overhead. And soften the belly. Find the natural curve of your spine. Take a deep breath. And gentle sigh. Let's take our twist. Right arm reaches up, inhale. And twist over to the left on your exhale. Extend both arms out long. This time let the palms face up. If your neck allows, look over to the right. Notice if there's any tension in the inner thigh. Gently relax. Relax the soles of the feet. Inhale the neck back to center, the knees back to center. Remove a block if it's there. And go ahead and hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. All the way to the right, all the way to the left. I love this pose, especially after a back bending class, just to release the back. Notice the connection of the back of the hips on the mat. You've got your kidneys tucked away there underneath the ribs. Maybe you want to rock up and down a little bit. And we're ready for that time, y'all. We're ready for Shavasana. So whenever you're ready, arrive there. Sometimes after a heart-opening class, I like to place a blanket over me. Sometimes I like to put an eye pillow on my heart space, on my chest, to ground down that fluttering energy. And as Holly and Kristen are getting settled in, I'm going to offer them a few sprays of the dewdrops and some of the Immortelle elixir. I encourage you to do the same at home. If you don't have those, the I'm Love oil is also a beautiful option. And take some deep breaths here. Maybe once you have the Immortelle elixir and you take some deep breaths with that, you do a few more taps on the heart space. The practice is complete. I'll be offering a really nice sound bath for Shavasana, and the notes of these two crystal bowls are aligned to our lower chakras, our root chakra and our sacral chakra. And those are the chakras below the heart. So if we want to balance out the heart chakra, it's fundamental that we work on the chakras below it. And we can do that with vibration and sound. Give yourself a few more deep breaths here. Remembering that every deep breath is an act of self-care. listening softly. Imagine you could breathe directly through your heart. Imagine this is where the air flows in and out of you. Let your breath flow freely in and out through your heart. Let your breath soften you, uncovering layers of you, allowing room for you to unfurl all of you. Your breath tenderly receiving everything it comes in contact with, welcoming your deepest feelings openly, unwaveringly, welcoming all your feelings, your joys, and your sorrow. Your breath is a gentle listening space. Your breath listens wholeheartedly to all that it meets, staying with you, no matter what arises. Your breath is always present, always listening. Listen to your infinite breath as it flows in and out of your heart. Your breath will teach you how to listen. Listen softly. Listen to yourself as your breath listens to you. Inhale. Exhale. Find some movement, face, jaw, neck, fingers, toes. Let your breath circulate through your body now. Breathing the breath. And in your own time, find yourself in fetal position on the side you don't usually go to, whatever side that is, making the familiar unfamiliar. And just taking a little bit of gratitude here for showing up. It's not easy at home. Thank you. Let's gently press up to seated, keeping the eyes gently closed. Give yourself some deep breaths once you arrive. Inhale, reaches the arms overhead. Look up. And exhale, back home, back to the heart. Let's Om together. Inhale. Wow, that was a powerful, powerful Om. That was a heart-centered Om. Friend, the brave heart in me honors the brave heart in you. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. And namaste. I love you. Thank you for practicing.